Welcome to the When You're Summoned to the Principal's Office episode of Believe It or Not in Education. And so I was a first-year teacher, and my principal informed me that he had gotten a letter from downtown stating that they needed me to go downtown and meet with the superintendent. I said, why would I be meeting with the superintendent? I'm a first-year teacher. He said, don't worry, it's nothing for you to be concerned about. From each school, she picked teachers who are first-year teachers, and she wants to get a sense of what your first year is like and how you can be supported. And I said, okay. She said she just wants to understand where you are. And I said, oh, okay. But in the back of my head, I was thinking to myself, that's not what she really wants to know. And so I went down there, and to my surprise, there were like maybe about 28 of us sitting around a table, and it's an oval table, and she was at the head, and all these people were giving their feedback. She asked us to give our name, our school, and then our feedback. And so people were saying things like, oh, I never get to see my principal. Oh, he doesn't let me use this kind of paper. Oh, she doesn't really tell me what I need to do. Or, oh, when I send the kids down there, that she doesn't really discipline them, blah, 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 blah. These types of things. Because she told us to speak freely. Whenever anybody tells you to speak freely, it's costly. Trust me. You never speak freely without a cost. Anyway. Having said that, she got to me, and there were maybe only like 5 people after me. And I said to her, well, my experience has been slightly different from what I'm hearing. I said, the part about resources being tight is true. Resources are tight for us. I realize that my principal has a very limited budget, and it can be challenging. I said, but one of the things that I really appreciate about what he's doing with us is that he does tell us how we can conserve and use our resources so that they can stretch a longer way. I said he's also put us in contact with other seasoned teachers who can help us along. He does come to my classroom and give me feedback. I said I don't feel like he's not interested in me. I said I think he cares, and I don't think he treats me any differently than anyone else. I said, but we're all aware that the resources are limited. I said, for example, lately we've had to really conserve on paper. I said, but for the copy machine, I said, however, I have gone down to, sometimes when I go down to FedEx, I do things, I have things done out of my own pocket, but the man knew me so well at FedEx, he said to me, I have a huge, he says, I just did a huge job, and we made some errors in the job, and so some of the paper we can't use. Would you be able to use the paper? And I said, yes, and he asked me how much of it I could use. And I told him that I would like all that he could give us. When I tell you that it was an entire, almost like a truckload of it, it was. And so I knew somebody with a truck, and they helped me, and they brought the paper down to our school. But I was telling her this, and I said, those are the ways in which we stretch our budget. So I was able to get somebody to bring the paper down to the school, and then we were all able to profit from that. And I said, so those kinds of things. I said also, with chapter books, we want our children to read more chapter books, but the budget doesn't really allow for that. I said, but I found out at one of the neighborhood libraries, they will sell their old paperbacks for like 5 cents, 10 cents a piece. And I said, so you could really get one whole title for your class for less than $5. And I said, for me, it was worth it. I said, I can't get it from the school. I said, but it's worth it to come out of pocket with that so I can get done what I need to get done. I said, so we just try to work within the confines that we have set. I said, I'd like to see us get more resources for book titles. I would like to see us have more access to paper for copying. That would be my biggest concern. So I didn't think about it anymore. We left the meeting and all of that. A couple of days later, my principal called me down to his office, and I'm thinking, wow, what did he want? And he said to me, thank you. And I said, thank me for what? And he said, remember when you had to go downtown? And I said, yes. He said, she gathered all the principals and repeated what we said about them to them. And they had to explain to her why we would feel that way. And of course, he came out looking like the man. He was so excited. He said, He said, nobody got the same reception that I got. And he said, and I really appreciate you for that. He said, and he said, and because of that, she's going to send us some money, some additional monies for titles, for book titles. He said that you were specific in what your needs were and what the problems were with the budget. He said, she said, I like the fact that you were discerning enough to choose an employee who is a problem-solving teacher. That means that her children are more than likely going to follow her lead and be problem-solving people. Now, imagine if I had done what everybody else in that room had done and complained. And just because it sounds like wah, 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 whining. When you do that, imagine if I had done that. He would have been in the same position that all his colleagues were in. I share this because I learned so many things from that. Number one, never offer a complaint without offering what you think a solution would be. Never do that. That's number one. Number two, when people are asking you something, don't think about the why. Why are they asking me that? What is it that they really want to know? She didn't really want to know how my year was going. She wanted to know what kind of teacher I was. She wanted to know what kind of principal I had and what his strategies were in making things better at his school. That's what she really wanted to know. Let me know if you've ever been to a meeting like that and how you handled it. See you in the comments.